Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, November 5th Select Board meeting. We know the meeting has been properly warned because the board, which is very small that you see, but is a quorum tonight, we're here at 5:45 to enter into executive session. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 15th.
So moved.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair's remarks. I do have remarks. As you can see, we are an abbreviated board this evening. And as a result of that abbreviation, we are making changes to tonight's agenda and things will be discussed next Tuesday at 6:15 instead. The items that will be moving are 9A, authorization for the town to join in a multi-jurisdictional opioids litigation and ratification of attorney's retainer agreement. Item B under 9, which is Brattleboro Community Marketing Initiative for the Downtown Brattleboro Alliance and the Brattleboro Area Chamber of Commerce. Under new business, which is item 10, we will be moving the Downtown Brattleboro Alliance annual work plan, budget, and town meeting article. And lastly, under new business, we will be moving item C, which is the proposed FY21 budget, the town manager's overview. All of these items will come back to next Tuesday's agenda at 6:15. And I hope to see everybody then. Any questions, anybody who can't come back, please feel free to email any of us or post publicly on social media your questions, and we can certainly bring them back to the meeting, as I know that that was an inconvenience. Those are my comments. Town manager's comments.
Thank you. I have several this evening. Following up on the postponement of the beginning of our budget review, I just wanted to mention two things. The board, had it begun its budget considerations tonight, would have confirmed the schedule of meetings that was tentatively approved back in, I believe, the first October meeting. And so we'll make sure that that's posted on the website and everybody knows what that is. We'll put it in the backup again for next week. It was in the backup for tonight's meeting. But you can count on the budget review by the select board beginning 1 week from tonight right here at this time and continuing basically every Tuesday for the next several weeks. And it's set forth which particular topics are going to be dealt with on each of those evenings is set forth in the schedule. Also, if you'd like to review the proposed budget that has been distributed today and would have been presented this evening, the FY21 proposed budget is on the town's website. If you go to brattleboro.org, on the homepage you can click on FY21 proposed budget over on the right-hand side of the page where it says notes. And that will take you to a page that has actually the several different pieces of the budget materials that are in the notebooks that'll be reviewed by the select board in future Tuesday evenings. So there's a whole separate page within the website regarding the budget with about 8 or 10 different documents there. And as we have additional documents later in the process, we'll post them to that same place so everyone can stay informed. Also wanted to follow up on the announcement from 3 weeks ago when we had select board and we were announcing the first of the 2 leaf pickup dates for this fall is October 25th. The second and final of the 2 leaf pickup dates is this coming Friday, November 8th. And so we just want to make sure that everybody who hasn't yet prepared to have their leaves picked up, we'll put them out in those brown paper bags you can get at different businesses around town. No plastic bags are allowed for the leaf pickup. And also, so that folks will be informed about the closures for next Monday and a couple that are schedule issues from over the weekend regarding the Veterans Day weekend. All town offices will be closed and all town services, with the exception of the ones I'm going to mention tonight, will be closed for business on Monday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. That, of course, is not the case for the emergency services provided by police and fire. It's also not the case for Brooks Memorial Library. It is the case for Brooks Memorial Library, which is closed on Sunday and Monday, November 10th and November 11th, but it's not the case for the recreation programming. There'll be the regular hours at the rink and even some extra hours between 12:30 and 2:30 for public skating on Monday the 11th. and all other recreation and parks programs scheduled for after 1:30 on Mondays will be held as usual on Monday, November 11th. Finally, trash and recycling and compost pickup will be as usually scheduled. There's no change to the schedule during the week of Veterans Day. And my last comment for this evening is a happy one. While we were unsuccessful in our first search for a new finance director, John O'Connor is retiring, and we didn't find his successor in our first search. So we plan to do an additional search in the new year. But I'm happy to report that John is going to stay on. We looked at some alternatives for how we might bridge to the new person. And John has agreed instead he'd like to stay on and provide the sort of continued stewardship of the finance operations during our transition into the new finance director. So he'll be reducing his hours, but staying on as finance director with us, and will retire in the new year when we have a new finance director to introduce.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are there other members of the board over here who would like to make any comments or committee reports this evening?
No, thank you.
Okay. I am about to open it up to public participation, but I did see some people join us, and I just want to reiterate. Actually, first, I need to ask Peter a clarifying question.
Sure.
Generally, public participation is only for items that are not on tonight's agenda.
Yep.
Do the items that I'm about to reiterate count as being on or off agenda?
So I think that's
Tricky
at
question.
the board's discretion, but it would be appropriate, since we're not going to be discussing those this evening, I think it'd be appropriate for you to go ahead and hear comments that members of the public have
Perfect.
come to offer on those topics, and you can be thinking about their comments in preparation for next week's actions.
That's good.
Great. Okay, so for those who have entered the room late, because we are an abbreviated board, tonight's items of the authorization for the town to join in the opiates litigation and the ratification of an attorney retainer agreement, should we have made that choice, has been postponed to next week, as has the Brattleboro Community Marketing Initiative, which was the DBA, Downtown Brattleboro Alliance, and the Brattleboro Area Chamber of Commerce, as was the annual work plan, budget, and town meeting article for the DBA, and as was the FY21 proposed budget town manager's overview. All items that I just reiterated will be discussed in full with the full board next Tuesday. There will be no formal action on any of those items unless there be any confusion. There has been no formal action on any of those items as of yet. Okay, at this time, I will open up the floor for public participation. This is an opportunity to discuss something that is not on tonight's agenda, and I believe we are in agreement that the 4 items that just got bumped may be discussed tonight. We're going to count those as things that are not showing on the agenda. So if you came here to discuss one of the bumped items, please feel free to do that. Okay? Who would like to go first? Dale. You know the routine, but for those who don't, when you come to speak, you're going to state your name and where you're from.
Dale Joy from Brattleboro.
Hi, Dale.
I want to express about racial profiling.
Okay, can I have you speak up a little? There's a heater behind me and I can't hear you.
I want to express something that I've watched go on for 50 years here in this town, and it's racial profiling. And the more records I go through, the more I see it. And it is insidious at times, and then sometimes right out blatant. Our town needs to take a look at itself, and especially the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Are there other members of the community here tonight that would like to speak? Oscar? Please state your name and where you're from.
Oscar Heller, Brattleboro Energy Committee. After our meeting yesterday, we'd like to request the Select Board to consider including in the FY21 budget purchasing carbon offsets to bring the town's municipal expenses to net zero. The reason we're bringing it up is because Lester Humphreys, who's here, looked into it, and it's actually very cheap. It would be between $18,000 and $38,000 for all of municipal heating and utilities expenses to be completely net zero by buying carbon offsets. Something like $13 a ton at an estimate of about 2,200 tons of carbon. We hope to be back next week with a fuller report with an estimate from last year and some recommendations, but I wanted to put it before you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and I see Peter's taking notes.
Okay, thank you.
Lester, were you hoping to do any follow-up communication? Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, nice job, Oscar. Are there other members of the public that would like to speak this evening on something not on the agenda? Ricky?
Hi, I'm Ricky Rosati and from District 2 in Brattleboro, New Montesquieu County, and I wanted to offer people
Ricky,
seeds
could you
that I had
speak to the
collected.
board so that we
I
can
have
see?
already spoke to you on this issue, so now I'm speaking to my peers because you've already turned your back on this issue. So thank you.
Are you comfortable with that, board?
These are seeds that I have collected from the bodacious cucumber magnolia tree outside the Abbiati, which the board has refused to put on the treasured tree list. And so if anyone would like a pod as a call to action to encourage them to celebrate and cherish this tree, I would be grateful to share that with you. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever even acknowledged or refused to acknowledge this tree. Okay. Are there other members of the community who would like to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda? Chief Fitzgerald.
Mike Fitzgerald, Brattleboro Police Chief. I would just like to, we're going to send out a public service announcements, but on my way into work today or to the select board meeting, I'd just like to remind everybody it gets dark a lot earlier. And there were a lot of pedestrians, a lot of bicyclists, and a lot of motor vehicles that appeared that they weren't aware of that fact. So please, if you're driving a vehicle, slow down, take your time, give yourself a little extra space. If you're a pedestrian or a bicyclist, please wear reflective clothing. It's colder out now, we're getting frost on our windows, and visibility is definitely impaired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, maybe turning on our headlights when there's not actual light out would be something that would make me happier in general, and something I've noticed several times in the last week, people choosing not to do. So let's turn those headlights on, our cars. Okay. Seeing no more public comment, I am going to move at this time into turning into liquor commissioners. May I have a motion to turn into liquor commissioners?
So moved.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our first item today is a second-class liquor license for S&M Venture LLC, doing business as Stop Food Mart. Would you like to come up to our table and talk with us? And while we're coming up to the table, Peter, can I assume that all of the proper paperwork is in order and?
Yes, ma'am. All the proper paperwork is in order, and the police and fire departments both have recommended approval.
Excellent. Okay. Hi, can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your business and why this
Hi,
license
my
is
name
good?
is Mohammed Rashid, and we're going to open the Snoko gas station. I'm the new owner for that, and we just take over, and I hope we're gonna run good because that business was closed. Just gas was running over there, and now we need to license for the liquor. Just people have to pick, buy and pick and go. We don't have to do anything else for that. We know that about the age and everything. So we have separate door, 4-door, and interest is separate and cooler.
Wow.
So everything is okay.
Wow. is this the Sunoco on Putney Road?
Yeah,
That's
Putney
been
Road.
closed for a while?
Yeah,
Yes. Yay. Very good.
yeah.
Are there questions from members of the board about this license and this opening?
No.
I can't wait to check out the cooler thing in the entrance.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Are there questions or comments from members of the community? Okay,
Did you have a?
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Much.
Go forth and prosper. Okay. Item number 2 under, oh, we didn't have a motion.
Yeah.
For one, yeah. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move that we approve a second-class liquor license for S&M Venture LLC, doing business as a Stop Food Market, located at 707 Putney Road.
Excellent. Daniel has made that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to item B under Liquor Commissioners, which is a first and seasonal third-class liquor license to a first, comma, and a seasonal third class. Those are two separate. To Hardy Foard Catering LLC, doing business as the Porch 2. And I see we have Gretchen and Representative?
And Adrian Ginter.
Adrian Ginter. Hi. So come right on up and talk to us. And everything's in order here as well, Peter?
Yes, as they do, I'll confirm that the paperwork is in order and the police and fire departments have recommended approval.
Beautiful, thank you.
Could, maybe, Peter, you could explain to us what a first class and a third class
Sure.
they are?
So the first class liquor license is,
Beer and wine.
thank you.
And the third class is just
Test.
spirits.
And those are both for consumption on the premises. Second
Correct.
class is when you're taking it out.
Correct. But this is also in regards for catering. So you need those licenses in order to do off-site events too. And then every event that you do gets passed through the town.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you.
Yep, and can we identify yourselves for the meeting minutes and for those watching from home, and then launch right in?
I'm Gretchen Hardy. I'm one of the owners of the Porch 2 Cafe, and this is Adrian Ginter, and she's our events coordinator.
Great.
So basically, we are a full-service restaurant, which you all probably know, breakfast and lunch, and one of our main focuses is catering, and this is now another service that we'll be able to offer to our guests. When they book us, they can book us for everything, the catering and the liquor as well. And it'll be liquor and beer and wine.
Wonderful.
Anything you want to add?
I think that's it.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, are there questions from the board? Are there questions from the community? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go forth and continue prospering. Okay. Oh, I would,
I'll make a motion.
thank you.
I move to approve a first-class liquor license and a seasonal third-class liquor license for Hardy Foard Catering LLC, doing business as the Porch 2, located at 648 Putney Road.
Perfect. Liz has made that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn as liquor commissioners.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I would now entertain, no, just kidding. Are you both wanting to do the motions kind of in a volley?
Oh,
or
yeah, we're
Sure,
fine.
yeah.
stick with our
Yeah,
usual
yeah,
chairs
yeah.
not making motions?
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't slacking over here.
Not so much work.
All right, at this time, now that we are regular board members again, we're going to move into new business. And our new first order of new business is going to be Ordinance Amendments, which shows on the agenda as item B. Peter?
Thank you. So this comes to you with a recommendation for approval both from staff and from the Traffic Safety Committee. And the concern originally came to us from multiple members of the public who had expressed concerns about the speed of traffic and some parking-related issues and congestion-related issues on Green Street because of the school being located there. And so we've done speed enforcement, we've done speed monitoring there. We also had field review by Police Chief Fitzgerald, Public Works Director Steve Barrett, and Fire Chief Mike Bacassi who together sized up the situation, met with the principal at Green Street School, and made the recommendation that has been approved and brought on to you from the Traffic Safety Committee. And the essence of that is two parts. One is to conform the town's ordinance to the existing arrangement as it relates to the temporary one-way condition that happens on Green Street during drop-off and pickup, and the hours in which that occurs, because right now the ordinance reflects an old arrangement, it doesn't reflect the current arrangement, and both the school and the town's public safety personnel believe that the existing arrangement is the safest for everyone involved. So we want to make the ordinance conform to the actual field conditions on that. And then the second piece is the parking in the pull-off area that's just directly in front of the school. There's no parking permitted there right now. That's exclusively for drop-off and pickup. But during the school hours, after drop-off has occurred and before pickup occurs in the afternoon, it technically has to sit vacant. There's actually fairly often people do use it, even though it's a no parking zone. We think it should be used as a parking zone for short-term parking when people are running in and out of school, if they have to pick up a child or drop something off or something. It makes good sense, and it's safer for the whole street to have people parking there to run in and out of the school rather than elsewhere on the block. So those are the two things that are addressed in the changes to the ordinance that are attached here to the memorandum from Fire Chief Bacassi to the board dated October 23rd.
Okay.
Tonight, you'll just have whatever discussion around this you choose to have, hear any comments from the public you might choose to hear. And then if you do move forward with this, it'll be scheduled 2 weeks from tonight on November 19th for a public hearing and your formal adoption of the ordinance.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you. Members of the board want to discuss this?
I just have a question. If we were to approve this, then at some point, I assume that the principal of Green Street would send out a memo to the school population, letting them know that, like, that front is available for drop-offs
Sure.
and so forth, so everybody knows the way to
Absolutely.
go.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would do that. We actually coordinated extensively with them because of the review. This review began at the end of the last school year back in the spring, and then was completed in September. And as a result of all that interaction that went on, both back in June and then again in September or August, there were specific notifications sent out to the families about, you know, what had been reviewed, and the fact that, you know, reminders to them about how it does work and how it's supposed to work, so that everybody can use the system as it's intended. Part of the congestion was there were people who were not using the system as it was intended, and in some cases double parking and doing other kinds of things that were just making it less safe and less useful for everyone. Also, a reminder to have the children get out of the cars on the sidewalk side, not on the street side, which is something that was observed quite a lot during the field review.
Great.
Daniel?
Yeah, I have a question. So on Guildford Street outside the Brattleboro Music Centre, there was these speed bumps that were installed.
Yes.
Amen.
And they seem pretty effective.
Yeah.
And is that something that the Traffic Safety Committee has looked at in other parts of the town?
It is, and it's something we'll be talking about during the budget process, because it is a good tool. We need to be careful to use it judiciously. It's a very labor-intensive tool. Because of our environment that we live in, these are seasonal, temporary rubber, hard rubber features. So they have to be installed in the spring and removed in the fall, and that turns out to be more of an operation than what we had originally anticipated. Multiple people for hours and hours, and Steve Barrett will be able to speak to that. Actually, next week, 1 week from tonight, in addition to the postponed overview, we'll be reviewing the Public Works budget and the Recreation and Parks budget. So as soon as next Tuesday night, we can explore that issue further with Steve.
Great.
And I guess it's also labor intensive to create a little berm out of ice in the winter months, right?
I live across the street. I'm willing to do that on a volunteer basis, because people fly on that road.
We do think, I will say this, subject to the discussion about the financial impact and the operations impact, in terms of other good locations for that traffic calming method around town, we think the schools are, you know, we went to Memorial Park first because there's a straightaway there. It's a route that people use to cut from West Brattleboro to the south end of town. And so we thought that was a good place for the first application of it, but it has been successful there in reducing speeds and increasing safety. We do think that the next place to look at if we do more of this would be at the schools.
It seems to me that the speed limit on Gilbert Street is 25, but you have to go much slower over the speed bump
Yes.
than that. And that's not marked, and it might be helpful if a speed were identified for going over the speed bump.
Sure. It actually is identified. There's
I
a
missed that.
warning sign, and I think it's actually, I think that they're humps, they're not bumps. So these aren't like the old things where you really rattle your car when you go over them. It's meant to be something where the change in elevation makes you feel less safe, so it forces you to slow down to go over it. I think you actually can safely travel over one of these at either 20 or 25, and it's marked that way. The sign that tells you it's coming.
Your
tells
car
you
has
what the
better
maximum
suspension
speed
than
is.
mine. does.
Yeah,
My car is basically a
I can
golf
say it doesn't
cart,
feel
so-
good. I wouldn't recommend it.
Again, Steve will be here
I
next
don't
week,
mind
and we
going
can take a
50.
deeper dive.
I don't mind going 10 over them.
I know now
Yeah.
that I really have to
Yeah.
slow down. For
Okay.
Are there members of the community that would like to speak on the Green Street ordinance, which, for a reminder, is a formalization of the one-way that takes place Monday through Friday during drop-off and pickup, and the parking change in the parking out front where the cutout is by the fire lane? Okay. We will talk more about this item in 2 weeks on our November 19th meeting. The next, let's bring this a little closer. The next topic for this evening is the police vehicles.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna move on to what you're gonna see as under new business, item D, which is the upfit of police vehicles, and that is the bid award. Hello. Joining us this evening are Captain Kerrigan and Chief Fitzgerald.
Good evening. We have a memo and a request for a approval for the cruiser upfit bid. The fiscal year 2020 capital improvement plan authorized us the purchase of 2 cruisers for $101,000. This is a 2-step process where we buy the cruisers and then put out the bid for the upfit. August 19, we purchased the 2 cruisers for a price of $60,200, which left $40,800 remaining for upfit costs. Normally, we get a trade-in for our cruisers from the company which we purchased them. And this year, we were getting $3,500 per cruiser. Since we purchased our cruisers in August, I was contacted by the fire department, and they requested that for them to come and inspect one of our cruisers, and if possible, to transport their personnel to trainings and for administrative purposes. They inspected a cruiser, they liked one that they had, so we reutilized that cruiser to the Brattleboro Fire Department. So the actual purchase price of the 2 new cruisers were now $63,700 because we didn't get the $3,500 rebate on one of them. That still left a balance of $37,300 for the upfit. We put out a bid for the upfit cost. We had one person apply, which was Southwestern New Hampshire Fire Mutual Aid System. They are an organization out of Keene, New Hampshire that we do regular business with for our upfits of our cruisers, our radios. We've had a great working relationship with them, and they came in with a bid of $35,577.23. That gave us a savings of $1,722.77 of Brat Fire still getting the vehicle, we purchasing our vehicles and the upfits and coming in under the initial approval amount of 101.
Excellent, thank you very much. members of the board that have any questions or comments?
I have a couple questions. So there's no sort of paper transfer between the police and fire to say, we're giving you this,
Yes, they will now be the registered owner of the vehicle.
okay. And when you buy a police vehicle, is it like a shell and then it gets upfitted?
Yes, it's a cruiser vehicle, it's a police vehicle, but inside there's like no cages, no lights, no radios, nothing. That's a good description, it's a shell. And there's two options that you can do. You can have the organization or company that you're buying it from do the upfit cost, and then when you pick up the cruiser, it's key ready. You just walk right out there and do it. We have found out in the past that that's very expensive. We save considerable amount of money by buying the cruiser, taking possession of it, and then putting out to a bid for the upfit costs. And also with Keene, the organization in Keene, Fire Mutual Aid, they're very responsive, they're local, they're right here. We've found that not only do we save money, but they understand our needs. They're responsive when we need things. So it's absolutely a win-win.
Well, thank you. That sounds like the responsible thing to do.
I'm glad it went to the fire department. It's a good idea. Are there members of the community that would like to, hi, come on up. Introduce yourself.
Hey, HB Luzito, District 2. I'm curious what happens to the remainder was in the original appropriation that's not used. Does that go into general operating, or where does that go?
It actually stays in the capital fund. So sometimes, in this case, we saved a little money. Sometimes the bids might come in a little higher. There's always a fund balance, which we'll be talking about as we go through the capital budget process. There's always some amount of money that is accrued there over time. And so in this case, that balance just got a little bit larger.
Great.
But it does not come back to the general fund. It stays in capital. And that's an important aspect of how we manage that particular part of the town's budget, because of the fact that you can't be sure that sealed bids are going to come in, exactly on the estimated prices.
Great. Further questions or comments from the community? Okay.
Very good. Should we make a motion? I just got a text from Tim. Yes, Tim, thanks. I'm glad that you like the suit.
Not what I expected.
Serious business being on this board.
Yeah.
So yeah, I propose a motion that we award a bid in the total amount of $35,577.23 to SWNH, the Southwestern New Hampshire Fire Mutual Aid Systems, for the upfit of 2 police cruisers.
Excellent. Daniel has made that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, where does that leave us for this evening? Committee appointments, okay. Item E. Tonight we have 2 committees and we have 2 appointments.
Two.
Who would like to read?
Oh
Them.
yeah, we always get this wrong, and it's not even late now, so there's no excuse.
I'm just gonna always get it wrong.
Yeah, Liz, what do you do when we get to
I
this point?
don't know. I guess.
nominate them.
Oh, I will nominate them. Yeah. Let me read 2 nominations. For the Conservation Commission, we have an applicant by the name of Jesse Wagner. For the Design Review Committee, we have an alternate vacancy and an applicant by the name of Gary Stroud.
Okay.
You nominated those people?
Yes, if those people are being nominated, then the 3 of you need to vote to either
Excellent.
appoint or not.
So we will start with a vote for Jesse Wagner on the Conservation Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Jesse Wagner. And I would like to make note that there are still 2 vacancies after this appointment on the Conservation Commission. For the Design Review Committee alternate, we have Gary Stroud. Let's take a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that was the only position which is now filled by Gary Stroud. And that's it. That, oddly, concludes our meeting for this evening. And please do come back and join us in person or via social media through the Watching It Live for next Tuesday, because the items that were pushed off from this evening are in-depth. They are a cross-section of many different parts of our community, and they're important. So I am sorry that it didn't work out for tonight, but please don't miss it next Tuesday at 6:15.
And like, you know, for folks that wanted to say something about any of the items that we didn't talk about tonight and can't make it next Tuesday, like emails on those topics would be very welcome. All of our email addresses are on there.
That's right.
Phone numbers too. You could call me, I guess. You can send me a text.
Yeah, I certainly
I
agree with
receive
that.
emails and calls in my home.
That's right, same here.
Really?
Same here. The calls always surprise me because I don't usually do the calling thing, but I do answer. So, email is always good. With that said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 6:58 p.m.
New world record.
That will never happen again, so write that down. Maybe get a tattoo.
Okay. So Jen, are we gonna keep the pharmacy?
2 minutes ahead of schedule.
That's true.
Yeah.
They'll get moved to next.
That's true. You know, this was good.
Okay.
I hope you feel better. Thank you.